Location, location, location. The single most important piece of buying real estate is to consider the location of your new home. I'm going to give you things to think about that I'm thinking you probably haven't considered, so you want to stay tuned. Hi, I'm Jackie Othen here, your Toronto Realtor, and if you want to stay on top of the latest and greatest in Toronto real estate updates, you want to hit the subscribe button down below, and remember, turn that little bell on for notifications so you never miss an update from our team. Location is arguably one of the most important things when you're buying a home, or if you're living in your home and you absolutely love the neighborhood that you're in and perhaps you've outgrown the size of home, you know that staying in the same location, if it's convenient for work, easy access to transit, or close to the in-laws, or in great school districts for your kids, you're going to know and understand that the location is the most important thing, even as you may have outgrown your home or have a desire to have a newer home. But there's some things that most of you may not consider, and I want to shine the light on them, things to think about when buying another home. You want to consider these three things to avoid when buying real estate. Power lines. We want to avoid houses that either back to, side to, or you can see the power lines right from when you pull into the driveway, or when you're parked in your driveway, you walk out the front door and you see power lines. We're not here to debate whether there is a health concern or issues related to that or cancers related to that, as some people would suggest. I'm just telling you that from a perception of value, there is a stigma that is created when people buy properties that have power lines. 9 out of 10 people that will see a home will say, I'm not interested, get me out of here. So if you're thinking about buying a property, don't buy one where the power lines are either in your backyard, abutting your property, or in plain view. Trust me, there are homes on the other side of the power lines or in another neighborhood that will meet your criteria, because if you buy something with power lines, that's a problem that's going to sit with you for the life of your home. So even if you're not planning to sell in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, those power lines are going to become a problem, and I've seen it in many communities where neighbors will tell me 30 years ago it was a problem, people were complaining about them, and today they are still complaining about them. Remember, buy a property that will appeal to the masses. Avoid power lines. The second thing I want you to think about is railways. Whether you are okay with the noise of the passing train is not what's up for discussion here, but if you're buying a property and it's not for your forever home, if you're going to be in this home for a short period of time, you really want to think about the market fluctuations and how slowdowns in market will impact your homes backing onto a railway track. And I'm not talking just about subway being close by and things like that. No, that's a great thing. That's usually a wonderful feature about a home if you're walking distance to the subway. But you don't want to be so close to the subway where the china in your china cabinet in your dining room is rattling around, or you can feel rumblings in the basement. As well, train tracks. If your family neighborhood that your home sits in, most families don't want their children to be able to get to the train tracks. So you want to make sure that that is not a problem, and that if the train tracks are there, they are set back very far from your property. There's a tall fence before you go ahead and buy that. Sometimes train tracks are back there. You can see them on aerial view, but there's huge wooded areas. That's a question of comfort. But the reality is a house that does not back onto train tracks has considerable more value than its neighboring property that backs onto train tracks. So for me, avoid. I'm not interested. I don't want to have a problem that I'm going to have to sell later. I want to make sure that I don't hear the train noise, and even if I could deal with the noise, I'm not interested in owning real estate that could potentially carry stigma because of train tracks. Plazas, strip malls, anything like that. Some of you may think it's wonderful that there is a plaza behind you, or there's restaurants that back onto you. You don't have neighbors per se. You've got the back of a restaurant, but I want you to think about it. A lot of these plazas or strip plazas with garbage disposal at the back of the property are actually sitting in your backyard. So ask yourself, on garbage pickup day, when the garbage comes to pick it up, or the waste removal companies come and pick up the industrial garbage, are you okay with that? With garbage comes, unfortunately, pests. Are you okay with pests in your backyard? Because certainly if they're there going through the garbage, they're probably going to be in your backyard as well. Also, traffic emissions from cars that are sitting there idling, whether it's a plaza with a Montessori or a daycare. People come in, drop their children off, and as much as you say, well, there's no neighbors behind me, you want to think about that, whether it's school parking lot. Is someone who's buying your home, or are you, while you live in this new home that you're purchasing, breathing in exhaust, hearing the sounds coming and going, dealing with heavy traffic. Is it better to be behind one house as opposed to a plaza? I'm going to say absolutely, and most buyers would agree with that too. So remember, location, location, location is important, but try to avoid these 3-4 problem areas that I've just given you when buying real estate, so you can get into something, make some money, and not worry about the location, which you cannot change, because you cannot take that house, however perfect it may be, however beautiful you may make it. That location is with you forever.